If you were thrown into a forest on an unknown planet, along with people considered dangerous, and were still pursued by intelligent aliens determined to eliminate you at any cost, what would you do? In this video, faced with this situation, we will analyze the mistakes made, what you shouldn't do, and discuss the best decisions to survive the lethal aliens in Predators. This soldier who has just landed in a dense forest is named Royce. His fall leaves him injured, but he manages to get up. While looking around, another man unexpectedly appears, a Mexican assassin named Cuchillo, who lands next to him and points a gun at him. With no time to understand what's happening, another person falls from the sky, but is already lifeless due to a failed parachute. At this moment, they come under fire from an unknown sniper, prompting them to take cover. They realize they are being attacked by a lone sniper, and Royce cautiously moves behind the sniper and confronts him, arguing that he is shooting the wrong people. The man introduces himself as Nikolai and tells them he was involved in a war in Chechnya before mysteriously being transported to this place and falling from the sky. Cuchillo shares a similar story, saying he was in Barra, Mexico, before experiencing the same strange situation and landing in this forest. Together, they speculate about what might have caused this situation. The group becomes tense as they hear noises coming from the forest, but soon they discover the source of the sounds. A woman named Isabelle, a French expert in sniper shooting, appears pointing her weapon at them. She mentions having seen more parachutes falling nearby, and Royce asks Isabelle the direction in which she saw this, and they set out to find other survivors. As they advance, they realize they are being followed by Hanzo, a member of the Yakuza. Okay, in a situation like this, the best strategy is to try to determine your current location. Climbing to a high point, like a tree or a mountain, can be helpful in gaining a wide view of the area and identifying towers or cities where you can seek help. Having a compass can be of great use, but if you don't have one, you can improvise by using a leaf and a stick in water. Meanwhile, somewhere in the forest, two men are engaged in a fight until the group finds them and interrupts the brawl. These men are Stans and Mombasa. Stans is a wanted fugitive, one of the FBI's top targets. He reports seeing another man trapped in a tree and leads them to the location. Royce frees him and asks the man's identity. He introduces himself as Edwin, still confused, claims to be a doctor, and was on his way to work when, in the same manner as the others, he was mysteriously transported to this place. Continuing their journey, the group comes across a strange structure, and next to it, human bones and skulls. They become concerned and wonder who could have done this. Mombasa explains that he has no knowledge of the responsible party but mentions that the skulls are possibly trophies, explaining that in some cultures, a warrior who accumulates more trophies gains greater respect. At this moment, everyone begins to feel a great fear about what is happening, and they question the nature of their situation. Royce takes the lead and ensures that regardless of what is happening, they need to find a way out. As they continue to explore the forest, Nikolai is about to touch a plant that the Dr. Edwin warns is poisonous enough to cause paralysis with a simple contact. Okay, upon encountering the remains of human beings, they immediately realized that something sinister inhabited that forest. With this realization, the wisest decision would be to stay together, avoiding internal conflicts. Given their knowledge of the imminent threat, using the poisonous plant as a weapon could prove to be a valuable resource to increase their chances of survival. However, they don't collect a sample of the plant and decide to take a break instead. During this rest, Isabelle draws Royce's attention to an anomaly in the magnetic field, demonstrating how an improvised compass behaves strangely in water. Royce also observes something disturbing. The sun doesn't seem to have moved since they arrived at the location. Furthermore, he analyzes the profiles of the group members and realizes that all of them have criminal backgrounds, which leads him to suspect that they were selected for something very concerning. As they continue walking through the forest, they come across structures resembling empty cages, indicating that something ferocious was loose there, and soon, they realize it's not just one cage, but several. Now, much tenser and cautious, they explore the area when Mombasa stumbles upon a skillfully constructed trap, and they discover other deadly traps that almost seriously injure them. Isabelle nearly falls into a pit filled with sharp stakes, but Royce saves her. They remain on high alert, awaiting any threat. However, what they find is a dead man, suggesting that the traps belong to him. Nikolai finds a book on the man's body, revealing that he was a member of the American Special Forces and was hunting something different in that forest. It becomes clear that what killed the man was highly intelligent since it managed to attack the soldier without triggering any of the traps, suggesting it was not a human being. Therefore, the best option would be to tread cautiously for now, as there are several traps scattered in the area. Furthermore, they notice that something is watching them using infrared vision, confirming that it is not human. However, Mombasa notices something unusual among the trees, although she can't see it clearly. Besides their vision, the creature remains invisible to human eyes, and Isabel also tries to detect the presence of the creature, but without success. A few hours later, they reach the edge of a mountain and are awestruck as they look at the sky, where they spot several nearby planets. It's a magnificent yet terrifying sight that clearly indicates they are not on planet Earth. Possibly, they are on a planet near Jupiter or Saturn, since one of the planets exhibits features very similar to those of Jupiter. Therefore, the only way to leave this place would be through a spacecraft, and depending on the speed of the ship, it would take about 1 to 2 years to return to planet Earth. Considering that someone transported them to this planet in a spacecraft, the best option would be to search for a military base or something of the sort and find a ship, since it's likely they are under observation through drones or even satellites by those who sent them to this planet. As they return to the forest, something passes over their heads, and a terrified Stans tries to force Mombasa to give him a weapon. However, he is quickly overpowered because there is intense distrust within the group regarding him. Soon, they all hear a noise approaching rapidly, and they realize it's a terrible creature advancing toward them. They open fire and manage to stop the first creature, but they soon realize that others are approaching. One of the creatures attacks Stans, who is saved by Mombasa. Meanwhile, the doctor is pursued and saved by Isabel, who ends up surrounded by the creatures. With imminent death approaching and her ammunition running out, she prepares to shoot herself. However, a sudden whistle sound resounds, and the creatures back off. Okay, we know that Isabel is apprehensive, not understanding what's happening. However, considering her marksmanship expertise, she would have the capability to easily neutralize the creature with a single shot. Even if that wasn't enough, she could delay the monster, allowing for a safe escape towards someone with ammunition. Speaking of ammunition, it's evident that these creatures are incredibly resilient, and using up all the ammo would be a waste, as they will still need it. Therefore, they could have saved at least the most powerful weapon, which Nikolai had. A minigun with a magazine capacity of 4,500 rounds, which, when used strategically, could eliminate multiple aliens. As for the whistle sound, it became apparent that these creatures were being controlled by another being. With his extensive experience, Royce deduced that they were being hunted, and the planet they were on was actually a kind of hunting reserve. At this moment, they realized that a group member had disappeared, and they heard Cuchillo's cries for help, leading them to set out in search of him. The group finds Cuchillo sitting with his back to them, but Royce quickly realizes it's a trap and warns everyone not to approach. With reluctance, the group realized there was nothing more they could do for him and left him behind. Isabel put an end to Cuchillo's suffering, but she soon realized he was already dead, as his pleas for help continued even after the shot, and it was evident that something was watching them. The group continued their journey, and Royce deduced that the forest had a guardian, someone who knew it well and had established rules for the hunt, someone who wanted them to run, but Royce suspected that if they ran, they would be killed. They decided to search for the hunter and trace the tracks of the creatures that had attacked them earlier, leading them to a camp. The tension heightened when they found dead creatures hanging in human skulls. As they passed by the bones, they found a strange creature, seemingly trapped. When they approached, they realized it was alive, but suddenly something attacked and killed Mombasa, triggering a firefight where they discovered that the creatures could become invisible and shoot lasers. The group began to flee, being pursued by the creatures until they fell into a river. It was then revealed the true appearance of the creatures. They were known as alien predators. Isabel confronted Royce about why he left them as bait for the predators. He tried to explain, claiming that he needed to know who they were up against. Royce seems to be the smartest one in the group, but the decision to go to the creatures' camp was dangerous, especially the plan to use them as bait. However, now they know what they are facing, and it's not just one predator, but 4, including the one that was trapped at the camp. Concerned about what she saw, Isabel mentioned a case that occurred in 1986 in the first Predator movie, where a group of elite soldiers was sent into the jungle, and only one survived. In her account, she described the characteristics of the creatures, which were very similar to the ones they had just encountered, with camouflage and infrared vision. Worried, they decided to devise a plan, and Royce had a bold idea. He asked Edwin to run to attract the predator's attention. The doctor was almost captured, but a precise shot eliminated the threat, revealing that it wasn't a predator, but something even stranger. They praised Isabel for her accurate shot, but she insisted that she had missed. Everyone was on edge, not knowing who was around until they heard voices in the forest. An invisible creature became visible before them, a man named Nolan, who who scolded them for making noise and warned them about the predators. Nolan took them to a spacecraft he called a hideout. There, he explained that the predators were hunters who enjoyed hunting humans as a sport. They came in invisible spacecraft, located about 30 feet from their hunting camp. Royce asked how to defeat them, and Nolan, worried, gave some tips but also explained that he didn't know how to leave the reserve, hinting that it was endless. Later, while resting, they noticed smoke and discovered that Nolan was starting a fire, causing panic among everyone. Royce reacted by throwing a grenade, which drew the attention of the predators outside. And upon realizing the presence of the creatures, Nolan tried to escape but was cornered and killed by a predator. At that moment, the group managed to escape through the corridors of the spacecraft, but when they were about to get away, Edwin separated from them and became an easy prey. He found an opening and asked for help, but the group realized they couldn't rescue him. They pressed on, and Edwin launched a flare at an invisible predator who revealed itself. However, he was saved at the last moment thanks to Nikolai, who rescued him, but he couldn't escape and was captured. Nikolai made a sacrifice by detonating the creature. I understand that when facing aliens, any help is important. However, Nolan was displaying clear symptoms of schizophrenia, like talking to himself and hearing unreal voices, so the group should remain alert regarding Nolan. Outside the spacecraft, the group believed they were safe when Stans was shot by another predator. Even injured, he fought the creature, delivering multiple knife blows, but these attacks had no effect, and Stans screamed for the group to escape as the creature eliminated him. While the group fled, another predator pursued them closely, heading towards the spacecraft Nolan mentioned. At that moment, Hanzo chose to stay and fight, giving the others a chance to escape. The battle was fierce, and using a sword he found on the ship, Hanzo managed to kill the predator. However, his own wounds were too severe, and he didn't survive. Meanwhile, the remaining survivors continued to run, but Edwin got caught in a trap and was injured. Isabel and Royce had a discussion about leaving him behind, but Edwin pleaded for help, and Isabel decided to stay to assist him while Royce headed toward the predator's camp. There, Royce came across the tied-up predator and, after freeing it, asked for its help to leave the planet in exchange for its freedom. The predator briefly assessed him and then put on its armor, becoming similar to the other predators with the same abilities, and then showed Royce the ship. Meanwhile, Edwin and Isabel were captured and taken to the camp, where they were thrown into a pit. At that moment, the trapped predator confronted another, but it was weakened from captivity and was quickly defeated. At that moment, Royce seemed successful in taking off with the spaceship, but he was thwarted when the predator activated its wrist device, causing the spacecraft to explode. In the pit, Edwin and Isabel were trapped when the doctor surprised everyone, poisoning Isabel with the poisonous plant liquid from the beginning, and then revealing the truth about himself. He admitted that the predators chose him because he was an assassin. Considered a monster on Earth because of his actions, he found himself normal among the predators of that planet and decided to stay. Okay, Isabel was aware that everyone there had committed some kind of crime, including Edwin. In this situation, the most sensible choice was not to trust anyone and always try to do everything to survive. So, she should have accompanied Royce to the ship. However, when Edwin was about to attack Isabel, Royce appeared, and it was revealed that he had never entered the ship. Upon seeing him, Edwin acted normally as a good doctor, and Royce rescued them. However, while the mercenary took care of Isabel, Edwin behaved strangely, raising suspicions in Royce. It was then that when Edwin was about to attack them, Royce acted quickly and finished him off with his own blade. After that, Royce used Edwin's body as bait and set a trap. When the predator returned, it found Edwin lying on the ground and impaled him with its blade. Upon turning him over, it fell into a trap where several grenades exploded. However, this was not enough to defeat it, but Royce was prepared to face the creature. Knowing that the predators used heat vision to identify their prey, he used fire as interference to remain undetected. Royce managed to hit the predator several times and hid to plan his next attack. However, at a certain point, the predator located him, and the tables turned, with the creature cornering Royce. However, Isabel, regaining consciousness, grabbed her weapon and hit the predator, saving Royce. The mercenary quickly got up and took the opportunity to grab one of the predator's blades and struck it multiple times, putting an end to the threat. Royce and Isabel, now at dawn, looked at the sky and saw several parachutes landing in the forest, indicating that everything was about to begin again. Hey guys, this was like surviving the deadly aliens in Predators, and if you believe you would succeed in surviving, tell me in the comments what you would do differently. Thank you very much for watching, and if you wake up on another planet surrounded by killers, remember that you should only trust yourself.